Hello and good evening. My name is John,
And I'm Allie.
and we're playing 80 Days. Now, you've played this game.
Love this game.
I have not played this game, so we're going to give it a shot. It says, London, click begin.
So what we're going to do is John's going to make all the decisions, because he's never
Yeah.
played before, and I'll do a bunch of reading.
I
And,
can
and,
read too.
it might help him.
So I know what this game is about. It's about around the world in 80 days. And I know it's a story game, and we get to make choices. So, we're beginning in London. I'm assuming this is day one.
I'll explain it. Monsieur Phileas Fogg returned home early from the Reform Club, and in a newfangled steam carriage besides. I
Ooh.
helped him down. And the iron-lugged, steam-driven horses clattered away. Passepartout, said he. We are going around the world.
Very good, monsieur.
I murmured dutifully, not believing a word of it. We shall circumnavigate the globe within 80 days. He was quite calm as he proposed this wild scheme. We leave for Paris on the 8:25 in an hour.
But of course.
I answered, still extremely suspicious. He nodded. Good. Pack an altimeter and my evening jacket. There is not a moment to waste.
An altimeter? Altimeter?
Altimeter, yeah.
You said altimeter.
Oh, sorry. You, Passepartout, that's you.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Now have fun.
I have 4,000 pounds.
Your character is now dependable.
Always been dependable. Is that me? No, that's my boss.
That's your boss.
Okay.
So that's how much he likes you.
That's how it's health.
That's how much he likes you.
Quickly pass and port out. Collect
Passepartout.
and collect our things, we'll be off.
Okay, so
Pack.
you need to pack. So what are you packing?
He wants the altimeter. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah. So this is how much space you have in your suitcase.
All right.
You can buy extra suitcases, but that may not be a good idea.
I'm looking.
A lot of how you choose... so as a context for the game, since you haven't read any rules or anything, a lot of how you get income, because you only have $4,000 for the entire trip, is by selling goods and stuff at different places
Yep.
and using these things to curry people's favor and keeping your
When I'm
master
done, I'm
good.
done.
Yeah.
We must discover our route as we go onwards.
So during the game, different decisions you make are going to activate certain routes as options for you. And when you make an option, when you're going to choose between different routes of
Yep,
things you want.
I get it. We're trying to travel. So do I just... Okay, so I'm
So
going
you
to
probably
depart.
want to depart. So
I have
you're
one choice.
Right now you do. So you're going to push in park.
The guards... Yep, let's do it. I like that steam horse. That's cool.
Yep.
We need the Indiana Jones because it's filling in the light.
The mechanical horses raced past Piccadilly Circus and Park Mall faster than a team of thoroughbreds. Even so, the whistle of the 8:25 was blowing as we pulled up to Charing Cross Station.
We raced on the concert and threw ourselves on board.
As the second whistle shrieked its warning, we barely had time to take our seats before the guard rapped smartly on the compartment door. He held out a hand. Tickets, please.
I'm gonna be honest. We didn't have them.
Alas, monsieur, we were in a great hurry. I explained, giving him a beseeching look. We did not have time to buy the tickets. You may purchase them from me, the guard was saying, though it is more expensive, I'm afraid. £85, please.
You know what? I don't want to get in a fight this early. I'm gonna say sure.
I handed over the £85 and smiled a thin smile, from one working man to another. The guard gave me our tickets and slid the compartment door shut behind him with a pneumatic hiss. Your funds have gone down somewhat.
Well, yeah.
So one of the things that happens based on your
I'm on
decisions.
fine form, but Miss Hey, so
So you want to curse?
I am Miss. Oh, yeah, it's you.
I'm at your service, Mr.
Oh, that's
Fogg.
me. And you said-
Passepartout?
I want to talk about the journey. But tell me, monsieur, what is the purpose of our journey?
I have made a hefty wager and I do not intend to lose.
Money. The journey will be most expensive, monsieur.
Indeed, but we can earn a little from buying and selling our possessions as we travel.
Oh, very good.
So that's really important.
To talk.
When you London smog gave way to rolling hills and the pastures of the Kentish countryside, still untouched by the hand of technological advancement.
Monsieur Fogg read his paper whilst I repacked our bags.
Thrown together in haste and confusion, as afternoon turned inexorably to evening, I discovered that my master was one of those gentlemen who broke their silence, rarely, if at all. A guard rapped on our door. A few miles before Dover. We are about to submerge, he warned. Take some people a bit funny, so watch out.
Take some people a bit funny? Very good.
Okay. I replied, as though submerging inside a 1,000-ton metal train was quite ordinary for me. If you feel claustrophobic, the guard replied, try running up and down the corridor. I always find the exercise helps. With that, he closed the door.
I want to watch. I press my face to the window glass.
As the fins above the amphitrite's wheels extended with a hydraulic hiss. Night fell, and we plunged past the end of the track into the freezing water of the English Channel. Your relationship with Fogg has strengthened slightly.
Oh, nice. But was that 100 already?
That's not your relationship with Fogg. That's like how he's...
That's his health.
That's how he's doing.
Yeah.
It's also how much he likes you. The amphitrite plowed through the water overnight and splashed up onto the wider gauge French tracks at Calais as the dawn broke.
Do you have a route in mind, monsieur?
I asked as the water of the channel dried from the compartment windows. I am as yet undecided, my master admitted. The new canal has sped up the shipping route from Suez to Bombay, though perhaps we could take the Trans-Siberian Railway across Russia.
I don't want to go to Siberia.
Okay.
Surely not Siberia.
I exclaimed. It is so cold and grim, and I have a particular fear of bears. Then we would do well to buy furs, he replied, refraining from rolling his eyes. There are other alternatives. We may also travel over land and across the Black and Caspian seas.
Which is the fastest?
I believe, said he, that that is what we shall put to the test. Parbleu, I scarcely knew what to think. We arrive at Paris Gare du Nord just after 1 o'clock. Automaton porters lifted our luggage and then our persons onto the platform with long, delicately filigreed iron arms. Paris, city of my heart. I was home, but not to say. So just so you know, you are Parisian.
Doesn't matter. New routes discovered. No,
it's actually important.
Doesn't matter to me.
You are Parisian.
I don't. No. No, doesn't matter.
Your master is not.
No, doesn't matter. There's some new routes.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Like, pay attention to these. They'll give you ideas. Basically, they have a lot to do with what things you've discussed.
I want to go to Nice.
Okay, so you have an opportunity right now to sell stuff at market. The pocket altimeter is probably valuable here, is what he said. Look at it, and you can see if you want to sell it or not. And then if you want to see if you want to buy anything. The downside of buying extra suitcases is certain forms of travel will cost you more. You see, you may not want to buy that, but you may want to buy something to replace that with. The shaving kit is really useful because it will help your master a lot.
I'm gonna get the suitcase. Oh, how do I buy the suitcase?
Put something in it.
Oh.
If you go to Berlin, that'll be useful.
Let's go to Berlin. All right, so we're done.
Okay, so now you can explore.
How do I get my route?
You can explore. You can get your route, but that's not something you could do at the moment.
Oh, okay. I had to explore to find routes.
At this point, yes, you had to. We had a few hours to spare. I asked Monsieur Fogg if I might enjoy my city before we had to leave. Indeed, and should you learn anything of note, be sure to relay it.
I nodded and headed into town.
The talk on the streets was of one thing only, an enormous, elegant oval stadium constructed upon the green fields of Champ de Mars and containing the technological marvels, art, amusement parks, and milling crowds of the World's Fair of 1872.
I ventured inside.
The grand illuminated pavilions of the exposition.
I went west towards the airship hangar.
Past a booth with a husband and wife pair selling panoramic hot air balloon rides to eager tourists.
I inquired about the hourly rate.
Wondering if perhaps the balloon could be encouraged to go a little way east as well and contribute to our great journey. £80 for a half-hour flight, the man responded.
Not today, I think.
I replied swiftly. The man nodded and moved on to the next punter with great swiftness.
I regarded the airships that filled the hangar behind him.
There were a huge number on display from all around the world, and my eye was immediately caught by...
the metal-clad four-propeller Savarkar Automatic.
With its red and yellow painted hull. They use the power of the sun, you know, remarked the lady at the stand.
No fuel at all?
A little for takeoff and for emergencies. They have rainy seasons in India, and they don't want their whole fleet grounded. Atmotics such as this sail the skies of British India near the Delhi home of their inventor, Amulya Savarkar. Perhaps one day soon, Mr. Fogg and I would find ourselves flying in such a craft. I returned to the exposition center, my thoughts turning with clouds and engine rotors. Avenues sprawled in every direction between the inviting, illuminated pavilions of the exposition.
An artificer was placing an arc light.
Which had burned out. She first disconnected the strange machine powering the lights. It had a spinning iron wheel, which was wound around with a series of armature coils.
What is that device, artificer?
I asked politely, my eyes straying to the copper lily pin which proclaimed that her profession. It's a bleeding nuisance is what it is, the artificer grumbled in a thick Yorkshire accent. These Gram machines are finicky beasts.
Is that so?
Oh, yes, and the bleeding Yablov-Chakov candles only last 2 hours. Not like I've anything better to do, eh?
The hardness of her tone belied by her gentle touch.
As she unscrewed the arc light's globe of enameled glass and replaced the 2 carbon rods within, she reconnected the supply, and the 10 Yablovchkov candles connected in series lit up once more.
They are miraculous.
I breathed. The artificer snorted. Their hard work is what they are. Miracles indeed. But her mouth softened into a small, proud smile. She looked at her pocket watch, cursed, and hurried off, dropping something as she went.
I hurried after her to return it.
And she thanked me. My medallion! I'll need that to get to my lunch from the canteen. Thank you.
I bowed in return.
And she giggled. Stop that! You'll make me blush. She rubbed the coin thoughtfully. I was given this for my work in Istanbul, you know. I made a very special automaton. I think it works as a driver now, on the route up from Izmir. I think that's right.
An automaton who can drive?
Of course. Is that so strange? I could only shrug. Who knows what is normal in this modern world?
True that. I looked about me once more.
Crowds of tourists jostled and heaved past, their eyes wide with wonder.
Avenue of Nations.
I took a stroll down the Avenue of Nations, lined with buildings in the styles of the nations of the world, and manned by foreign delegates in national dress.
The newly formed German Empire was as conspicuous as absentee.
In the city it had so recently conquered.
The Austrian-Hungarian delegation was being harassed by an artificer.
Who looked to me like a farm boy from Provence. The artificer was pointing at one of the soldiers guarding the doorway and shouting in terrible German, Verboten! Verboten!
What's the matter here?
I asked the artificer, and he rounded on me. These Austro-Hungarians, he raged in a peasant-accented French. How dare they?
Every nation has a right to be here.
I began, but was interrupted. Not to be here, the artificer snaps. That! The soldier by the stand moved suddenly with a mechanical judder, and I realized that he was no man at all, but rather an automaton, with an enamel-painted uniform and pewter face. The artificer cursed. These Austro-Hungarians have brought their automata soldiers to Paris, even though war machines are expressly forbidden by the Guild. Who knows what dangers they might represent? I turned away hurriedly. My feet were tiring, and the hour was growing late.
Yep.
I returned to Monsieur Fogg, who was eating a meal of plain boiled beef à l'anglaise. Did you enjoy the exposition? My master inquired diffidently.
As thought, I've been not busy. So these are things that...
These are all your decisions every time.
No, I'm just saying, I'm confused.
Why are you confused?
Is this saying, am I telling him the truth here, or is this adding to what I did?
This is an explanation of how he's inquiring. These are your options.
Oh, that's a him. He inquires indifferently as though I've not.
Yes.
Yeah,
these are how you make your decisions every time.
Having heard a hearty meal in an English newspaper.
To all the wonders that the modern world had to offer.
Will we travel by airship, do you suppose?
I asked. I think it highly likely, he replied. They are expensive, but extremely fast. I dreamed that night of mechanical wonders and automatons with beautifully enameled faces, knowing little of the strange inventions and stranger peoples I would soon encounter in my journey around the world.
New routes discovered. So is this like a roguelike? Do these routes stick around the next time you play?
No.
Plan.
So where do you want to go? Which route do you want to go?
I want to go to Berlin.
Because you originally said you wanted to go to Nice.
But I have that wine.
You currently have no way of getting to Berlin.
But I can go to Amsterdam.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to go to Amsterdam?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a private car that departs. It'll take one suitcase, but it'll take a bit of his health, which is fine because you've got the case.
If we go here,
time is ticking every time you're making these decisions. So that one leaves in 2 days. This one will arrive tomorrow.
How do I take it?
Just click on it.
Then what? Then what?
Click on. Yeah, click on. That's the route you want to take?
Yeah. How do I go?
Okay, you planned.
Then what?
I think that's what you do. You already went there. You probably need to stay in the hotel for tonight. There we go. There's your time clicking.
So I can't depart yet?
No. We took a hotel for the night. We'll be comfortable here, Monsieur Fogg remarked, but traveling overnight will often be more efficient.
Where possible.
We cannot travel where it is not possible, certainly, he replied. Still, the surrounds of the Hotel Ritz were most enjoyable.
Depart.
Now you can depart. Now you just click that button. Click that button.
I'm going.
There you go. So you got there's space for one luggage. We have two.
There.
Okay.
Done?
Yep. Imperial Park. There we go. Okay.
Go.
There's always a hazard of different routes depending on how much luggage we're able to hold. Now, if you're really trying to strategize, you would take more time on these things, but you're an impatient gamer.
I don't got time for that.
We found a member of the Coachmakers Guild to carry us to Amsterdam. She loaded the case onto the back, stoked the boiler, and took off at a high speed along the coastal road, swerving around each corner with considerable skill, and I think...
A touch of showmanship.
I clung on tight. This would be a terrific ride.
Greetings, driver.
I cannot drive well if you are talking to me.
I need to know about Amsterdam.
The canals of Amsterdam are no longer lined with gold.
Is it possible to go from Amsterdam to Berlin?
No idea, but I do know some buyers who will pay well for geometric equipment from Berlin.
I think I sold my geometric equipment. Oh, well.
It's okay.
What more can you tell about Berlin?
Talk a lot, don't you?
Bye. Yeah, good enough.
Once or twice, the metal-rimmed wheels lifted the chassis clear from the road on one side, only to bump down after a chuff and puff more of the engine.
We were jolted around like so much poultry.
As the wind whipped through our hair.
A fabulous way to travel.
The Polish inventor Bozek, who had first attached a perfectly decent locomotive engine underneath a flimsy wooden crate, was clearly a genius.
Such cars are growing in popularity.
Starting from their use in farmsteads and extending up through the classes.
There was those who said such contraptions would soon be privately owned.
And not just by members of the Coachmakers Guild.
As we rattled along, I spoke to our driver.
About what lay ahead and learned that Stockholm was linked to Warsaw aboard the Baltic ferry, but the fare was worth saving up for. Some of these routes are not going to be useful for us.
Yeah. Well, I was hoping, like I said, is this road like the next time you play, do the routes stay?
I'm pretty sure they don't. So we can sell the geometric equipment because it's relatively valuable here.
Lost. Wow. 17.
So that's useful in Munich. So if you think you're going to go through Munich, that's great. If you take the European carriages list, it'll give us those
immediately
maps immediately. Yeah.
Oh, then I can go to Berlin.
And if we sell a map like that, we lose some of that information. But we can.
Oh, I want to go to Berlin because I have that wine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to click.
Clicking's not going to help until the
Yeah, it speeds them up. Click, click, click. Oh, come on. All right.
Okay, so you can go to market, or you can click on that. You want to negotiate that?
Yeah.
Do you think you can afford that? It's up to you.
Is that how much it costs?
Yes. See, it'll require a further $110. That's how much more it's going to cost if you're going to have it leave earlier. But you probably want to leave earlier because you only have 80 days. Okay, so you're good.
Tomorrow at 8 a.m., so I want to miss that.
Yeah, so you should go back to the city and probably sleep.
Well, I can take...
You can take 4 hours to explore.
Right, but I also can take... Am I going to Munich? It gives me 2...
Are you going to Munich? I believe you are.
Are we?
You're going to Berlin. You're not going to Munich.
Okay, so it's not worth it. All right.
No.
So we're just going to explore for 4 hours?
Yeah, you can do that.
And then sleep? Oh, we got some new... Oh, we could go to Munich if we prefer, but we already bought our ticket.
Though the people of Amsterdam move about in its canal-side streets with a sense of optimism and good cheer. And yes, you can buy your ticket, but sometimes you can explore first and then buy your ticket.
Yeah,
There's all
yeah.
sorts of different ways of doing these things.
One look at the buildings tell another story.
Perhaps 200 years ago, this was the center of the world, but these days,
Those Zulu diamond fields have drawn away the trade.
from Europe, and the importance of Amsterdam is a little faded. I sympathize, bien sûr. France's own position has been precarious since,
The debacle with Napoleon.
apparemment, it is a most ill-advised venture to attempt to conquer all of Europe and Russia besides. Would I walk along the Seine one day, thinking back to our days of lost glory?
I approached a street peddler.
For advice, who greeted me with a cheerful smile beneath a caterpillar-like mustache.
We're going around the world.
I declared. He replied, "You are like the influenza." The peddler reached into his pocket. "Buy an apple? £1."
I bought it.
And took it with a smile.
What's the fastest way on from here?
Car, I suppose. The roads are good. The canals used to be better, but now they seem almost out of date, he sighed. It is a curse to be rich in the past. By the time the future rolls around, you are poor again.
Maybe we'll be rich again sometime.
I remarked, more from sheer optimism than any true conviction.
That's it. The peddler moved on.
So many choices! All that remained was to choose how best to depart.
We already did, though. So just hotel it?
Probably. Late.
Pass the night here.
With what remained of the day,
I attended to Monsieur Fogg.
probably a good choice, providing him with a haircut with a dear wish he would have a restorative night. Relations with Fogg have strengthened
good.
slightly.
Depart. We're going to Berlin.
Him.
Um,
So the shaving kit will help us soften
Okay.
things. Like these are the
these are all
stats.
bonuses. Yeah,
Those are important things to pay attention to. But at the same time, the longer you spend paying attention to things, the more problems you're going to run into.
It's fine.
Our next leg was another short trip in a car. I bounded in, eager to get started. We hired the same driver as before. "You two!" she exclaimed. "Get in!"
You're clipping when you shout.
Sorry.
Converse. Hell yeah. What's your wish, master?
Why, my dear Passepartout?
How is our progress, monsieur?
Day 4, I believe. Early days.
How are our funds?
We are quite comfortable.
Very good. I like that Berlin jump.
As we departed Amsterdam for Berlin, I begged Monsieur Fogg to allow me a turn at the wheel. He looked to our driver, who smiled and happily moved to one side. The wheel beneath my hands was like nothing I've experienced before.
Such a responsibility.
Knowing the slightest sneeze could send us veering into a ditch
The mechanics of the car.
was quickly grasped. The first lever produced forward movement. The sideways levers controlled our gearing and hence rate of power.
The wheel, of course.
Was to be turned rapidly at all times to release steam into the pistons. We made good time, though at the end of the day my palms were scorched and red hot. Now I know why drivers wear gloves.
Relationships with Fogg have strengthened. I'm a little worried we're going to go through Munich.
You may or may not have to. What did you click?
Gave him a shave.
Oh, good choice.
Made good progress in the car. Toot, my friend, toot.
Finally, we came up upon the sight of tiled roofs, the harbor, and the smell of herring. We had arrived in Berlin.
Boop.
So you can plan or you can go to the hotel
Don't
right
want to
now.
plan because that's all we can do.
Well, you can go to the hotel right now and sleep. That's probably necessary.
So
Rest is important.
I just want to look. So I don't really want to go to Munich, but I think it's my only choice.
Well, you can also spend an extra day here and do some
Yeah.
exploration to get some more stuff. But you should probably go sleep at some point.
Oh my gosh, how do I get out of the screen?
Click on Berlin, which is where you are,
Okay,
and
hotel. We'll pass the night here.
because sometimes that extra exploration
Yeah,
helps you. We stayed for the night in the Hotel Aldlan on Unter den Linden. I suck at German. The main boulevard in the center Miette district. From the window, the Brandenburg Gate was lit by upturned gas lamps.
Went for a late night stroll.
Along the avenue, past groups of people drinking at low tables,
I sat down beside a pair of ladies.
who were each trying to outdrink the other.
I kept score for them.
As jug by jug, they slid slowly underneath the outdoor table and onto the cobblestones beneath. The evening was riotous, and I learned from my new friends, Adele and Claudia, that merchants in Moscow will pay fantastic amounts for absinthe from Budapest. So you can explore.
I can
right
explore,
now?
yeah.
'Cause this is
There we go.
This is often what you need.
Warhol.
Berlin, they tell me, was once filled with the glorious sound of people speaking French. Not so anymore.
It seemed so fall in the streets we did not go out.
But stayed in our lodgings, consulting pamphlets on the railway networks of the world that were delivered to our room by a strange system of connected leather pulleys.
Made for interesting reading.
It seemed the Orient Express, the beldam of pan-European travel, was, in fact, prone to delays and reschedulement, while the smaller routes, run by German companies, were substantially more efficient. The afternoon turned to evening, and we finished our explorations of Berlin. So do you want to go to market?
Yeah, go to the market. We got to sell our...
How did you get apples? Why did you get apples?
I bought an apple for $1.
Oh, right, okay. Now, sometimes some of this stuff will come available later again. You may want to just put the apple in your suitcase and keep one of the other smaller things. It's really up to you.
I don't know where Cartoon is.
You don't know where Khartoum is? Okay.
Well, I don't know where Cartoon is.
It's in the east.
We're going to go to Warsaw.
Okay.
Go. 23 minutes. We just made it. Get on the train!
You're on the North German Express.
We're making good progress.
Mm-hmm. The newly amalgamated German Reich railways made a political point of their efficiency to quiet any nationalist rumblings. The departures left at the moment they claimed, not a second before, not a second after.
Suspecting as much, I attempted to plan ahead.
Loading all the luggage in a full hour early and ensuring Monsieur Fogg was installed the moment the guards lifted the gate. However, in my preparations, I somehow left my own ticket behind.
And I was forced to jump the barrier.
Which in turn led to a small army of guards who chased me down the platform, catching my arms just as the train door closed.
I spent the night in the station's private cell.
While my gracious captors sent a wire to Warsaw for Mr. Fogg to consider bailing me out upon his arrival.
Oh no.
Read the news. That's actually useful.
After having accused the world's fair saber rattling.
This stuff's sometimes useful information.
Yep. Man, I got stuck.
I spent the day imprisoned, pacing backwards and forwards, with nothing to do but chew my fingernails, to the quick, and curse myself roundly. Was this the end of my adventure around the world? Surely not. But then...
The keys rattled in the iron door.
And one of the guards informed me that Monsieur Fogg had vouched for me. A gentleman's word needs no further proof, and so they hauled me from the cell and put me on the next train. I've never been so grateful to be aboard a locomotive.
All right. Well, we lost a day. That's okay.
So things like this befall you quite frequently.
Yeah. Converse. Greetings, Monsieur Hammersmith.
Good day to you, Monsieur.
Warsaw to Budapest. According to my timetable, Warsaw is connected to Budapest.
On the subject of carriages, I've heard one can travel by hired carriage from Riga to Muscat.
Budapest. Is it possible to travel to Budapest to Dublin?
Dubrovnik? I doubt it. Doubt it now, anyway. So you're a valet, then?
Indeed. I am, Monsieur.
Curious. I'd imagine valets to be quite stiff people.
Apple, monsieur? You are too kind. Muscat. Do you remember Muscat?
I'm told you can obtain handheld mirrors in Muscat. Extremely valuable in Lahore.
Lahore?
Have you heard that the quickest way to Lahore from here is through Katrinsburg?
A Katrinburg?
My mother had a wonderful time aboard the freight train from Katrinsburg to Astrakhan.
Astrakhan? Goodbye. New routes discovered. Oh, jeez.
Sometimes the adventure in this game is half the fun.
Yeah.
I was away! The countryside rolled past.
I spent the journey relaxing.
A few hours without a master to tend. What luxury! Monsieur Fogg met me on the platform as I stepped from the train.
And waited for him to speak.
Come along, Passepartout, he said, and turned on his heel. I hurried after him into the town.
Your character is now courageous.
Nice, I've not had that one.
You're quite the flamboyant type, I see. Nothing special in the market?
Depends.
Fine,
Do you want something?
We got lots of money. Plan.
Currently, nothing is going east, so you may need to do something else.
Well, I can't explore.
Not yet.
I'll wait to explore. So I'd like to get to Moscow.
Mm-hmm.
If I can find a road to Moscow, then I could go through Minsk, and that's worth a lot. All right.
Well, you can always put that in a suitcase. Go to the hotel.
Yep.
We'll pass the night here.
Yep.
We walked the streets of Warsaw, feeling the air of a different continent all around. In less than 2 generations, the Tsars had made this little outpost all their own.
They made it much nicer, too.
There are building works on every road with great digging machines sitting idle during the day and coming to life in the evening as they carve out sewage and water systems that will allow the city to grow to an enormous size.
A touch of empire can do wonders.
Your food is
This
beeping.
just...
I remarked to Monsieur Fogg, but his eyebrow scolded me. No good will come of this, he replied. Only malignant growths and rust expand at such a rate. He shook his head sadly. When will people realize that only the English are fit to run an empire?
I agree empathetically.
What a pair of travelers we are, putting this silly world to rights.
Explore. Alright, I gotta take care of that.
Okay.
Can you buy once all the talk, can you buy the accordion and get us to Minsk?
Going out in the day, I encountered an incredible creature, as tall as a house, with wide, swinging metal arms like a rampaging giant. I stared, I hid, I fled. I hid, watching as the terrible machine stomped from foot to foot, slowing, rotating, and then I saw that in its chest was a man using levers and switches to operate the colossal device. It was a gigantic, walking exoskeleton.
I waved to him.
And he looked down and tipped his cloth cap.
Oh, what is this thing?
I demanded. It's a kondunki, he said, from Novorossiysk. They've shipped a few in to help us with the building work.
How does it work?
There are 2 levers for each hand, and they work on wall sockets. I'd let you try, sir, but I must get on with my work. He pulled a lever, and the machine drew back a massive arm.
From Novorossiysk, you say?
It's a small town on the far side of the Black Sea, he replied. I don't know why they have a surplus of these things there. The drawn-back arm smashed into a wall, and the building fell into a cloud of dust. I jumped back. Excuse me, my friend called, but I must get back to work.
What an incredible sight. Alright, so...
Weren't you going to buy something?
I'm just trying to see. The part's at 3. Alright, so... How much luggage can I take?
It should tell you.
2. Okay, good. Mark it. I'm going to buy a suitcase.
Do you want the monkey wrench? It would fit.
Sure. Okay. And then we're going to depart. Minsk. Embark. Cold weather.
So that
That's
coat's really
suit
helpful.
help. Yeah. Oh, look at that tank. That's awesome.
What was it beeping?
It was just the time was up. It's fine.
Okay. We clambered aboard the train. Monsieur Fogg settled in a far corner like a dusty old uncle, and I...
Press my nose against the glass.
watching the bleak countryside roll past. Trains are such marvelous contraptions. I could have been an engine driver myself, I think.
If it wasn't such a dreadfully dirty job.
A life of coal scuttles and engine grease. Mon Dieu.
Converse. Ooh, who's Captain Beardy or Mustache there? Greetings, Monsieur Krosstukin.
Good evening, man of France.
Minsk. I'm very interested in Minsk.
That seems terribly unlikely.
Minsk to Moscow. One could also travel to the way to Moscow, I understand.
You mentioned trains. I've been told Omsk is collected to Karimskaya from rail, but the fare is over £1,000.
Kaliskaya?
Have you heard that some buyers will pay well for accordions from Karimskaya? Yeah.
Oh, we have an accordion though, but
it's not from there.
Oh, okay. Kariskaya to Brzezinski?
Yes, my childhood sweetheart was stranded in Karimskaya just before the Trans-Manchurian Express to Beijing went missing.
Oh, weird. I'm happy going. Like I'm happy with our routes we got.
We arrived at Minsk after nightfall and disembarked. So you probably want to sell whatever it is you were trying to say about
Yep.
for here.
All right.
But you probably.
I just want to look at the map. So Moscow's got a train.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like this route here.
But you don't want to commit to it right now because
Yeah.
other routes might be available. You should probably sleep.
Yep. I just wanted to look.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm about to look.
Yeah, I'm just giving you the heads up because you need to get to the market. A very cold newspaper man offered me a sip of Turkish coffee at a tram stop in Minsk. My grandfather was French, he said blandly.
Was he also a journalist?
I inquired in interest. He spat onto the ground vehemently. I did not know him. He was one of Napoleon's soldiers. Minsk was occupied by the Grand Armée during the invasion. He did not speak in a particularly accusative tone, but any words I tried to say in reply coagulated at the back of my throat. I managed to choke out.
An unfortunate business.
Yes, war is an unfortunate business, and yet, he sighed, I am here, so there's that. He gestured with his cup. You're traveling?
We will cross from Russia to Japan.
He gave me a downturned smile. Vladivostok is closed, he said. You'll have more luck going through China unless you're military.
Thanks for the advice.
I replied coolly. He narrowed his eyes at me. Our tram wheezed into the stop, and the conductor opened the doors. The newspaper man boarded. Enjoy your coffee, he added, without looking in my direction.
I boarded with him.
And he cracked a rare smile. If I were traveling, I know where I would choose to go.
And where is that?
Tehran, he replied to my surprise.
A beautiful place, I'm sure.
He laughed bitterly and tapped the newspaper under his arm. When I was younger, I knew a woman called Lena Palkala, a Finnish girl. She became a dancer. Now she passes herself off as Slavic and has just been signed up to dance exclusively in Tehran. I'm sure I will never see her again, but if I could, I would try.
Then go. I can advise you on your routes.
I would never find her. Lena Palkala is gone. Her name is now Marina Poltavka.
Aw. We need for the market to open, so I'm going to explore.
See, this is why. I took a few hours to explore, investigating the various options for how we might continue our journey.
So this sells pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Biscuits. All right. So let's go back.
Do you want a bank? Do you?
I want to plan.
Mm-hmm. So do you want to go to Moscow?
This was closed, right?
No.
What was
Vladivostok.
that? Well, I want to go. Just go to Moscow.
Okay, you can go to Moscow for now. You'll also notice that this game will show you how all the other players are doing. So these other trains are where other people are.
Oh, okay. That arrives Sunday, so that means we have to. It takes 2 days to leave.
Probably. It
Negotiate.
departs in 2 days. We can negotiate though. Okay.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
Yeah. So now we just.
Well, we can hotel.
How many bags do we get?
You can check. 2. You've got 2.
Okay, so we can put stuff in our bags.
If you want.
All right.
So you should probably, well, you could bank, but you don't need to right now. You don't need to get a loan.
No, we're good.
So hotel. As night fell, I made.
I ran a few errands for the hotelier.
Earning 55 pounds. Your funds have gone up somewhat. Relations with Fog have strengthened slightly.
Hooray! Depart. To Moscow. Embark. Go.
The train pulled out from Minsk station well after nightfall. Monsieur Fogg had taken to tapping his watch every time he began a new journey, as though he was recording the time of departure through some fantastical spring-operated signal.
Perhaps he was sending a message.
To whomever it was back in London who persuaded him on this curious journey of ours.
Maybe.
time to do anything before total darkness enveloped the train.
Would you ride on this train?
I don't know.
Ooh. Greetings, mademoiselle.
Good evening.
Moscow. What can you tell me of Moscow?
I prefer the Kremlin to St. Basil's onion domes.
Moscow to Ekaterinburg.
You mentioned trains. I've been told my friend used to talk about the Beijing Express from Urga to Beijing.
Beijing.
I've heard that the quickest way to Beijing from here is via Irkutsk.
You're talking about Urska.
Some people say one can travel by the Mongol horse caravan from Irkutsk to Urga.
Goodbye. I'm still happy going. I like my route so far.
Okay, we'll see what happens.
Morning came.
Morning came, and we were still crossing the Russian countryside, the train moving on its slow and steady way. I spent the time
Eavesdropping.
trying to find options for our next leg, discovering from a charming Muscovite artist that the governor at Omsk is a likable fellow who enjoys travelers' tales. Finally, we pulled into the stone edifice that was Moscow Station and disembarked.
All right.
Like I'd never advise trying to book more than one leg at once, because weird things can happen.
Yep. I just wanted to look.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have done the market.
Moscow was not a comfortable city for a Frenchman. A local composer had just written a piece people were calling the 1812 Overture, commemorating the Russian victory over Napoleon's invading Grande Armée in that fateful year. Patriotic passions were at a fever pitch.
But I did not let that stop me.
From exploring the city, though I resolved to.
Remain mute.
And unobjectionable should I encounter anyone.
I traversed the city on foot.
Keeping out of sight of the patrols of uniformed policemen and Cossack troops mounted on back of mechanical steeds. I ventured away from the wide boulevards and the eclectic architecture of Tverskaya Street toward
The outdoor markets.
of Staraya Square. They were full of apple-cheeked young boys and wrapped-up peasant women. I found myself drawn to one particular stall
Which seemed plain.
on the surface, but had a variety of special merchandise for a discerning customer, including a magnificent bottle of Chateau Yquem 1860.
I purchased for £50.
Expensive, but sure to be worth the price for such a rich Bordeaux. The bells of the nearby church chimed the hour. I returned to my master, content with my brief view of the Tsar's capital city.
All right.
Well, you probably need a hotel because
Yeah.
the market's not open. Before retiring,
Oh, crap.
what did you do?
I clicked accidentally. Okay. Whew.
I have had this freeze on me
Yeah.
before.
Before
so-
retiring, I buff and show my master's pocket watch.
to ensure everything was shipshape for our upcoming departure.
Depart.
Weren't you going to check out the market?
Arrives Tuesday.
Oh, it's Sunday. The market's closed. Okay.
Do we want to go around?
It's up to you.
All right. Departs at 11, so the market doesn't open at all today?
It's Sunday. It doesn't look like it opens at all.
We can sell this immediately, but I'm going to sell...
Well, we paid $50 for that,
Yeah.
so...
I'm going to sell the European carriages. We don't need this anymore.
Yeah, because you've left Europe.
There you go. Go. Oh, it's a new train.
Mm-hmm.
2 days.
The bell in the stuccoed and whitewashed Moscow station gave its third and final clang, and the platform erupted into frenzy.
Oh, gosh. We boarded calmly.
And found ourselves in a small cabin with heated water and even a shaving mirror.
Converse. Oh, she is official. Greeting, Madame Pavlikchenko.
May I see your ticket? How I despise this job.
Edinburgh.
Go on.
Edinburgh to Karamasky.
You mentioned trains! I've been told my brother always wanted to travel aboard the Canadian Pacific Railway from Gastown to Regina.
You okay?
Yeah, just finding it funny. Who cares? But you can buy Mongol chancy loots in Urga that will sell for a fortune in Calgary.
Calgary likes loots. Karmaskasa to Irkska.
No idea, but I do know there is neither bank nor market in Irksta.
Oh, good to know. Gastown to Calgary. We've been to both of those.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to go through Canada if possible.
Good goal. There are a fair number of routes.
We were away.
I
I familiar myself with the train.
Its layout. The last two carriages were heavily guarded prison cars, and then fourth class, then third, and so on, with amenities scattered between passenger cars.
The Candlelit Chapel
Was presided over by a long-bearded Orthodox priest and full of the pious, and was positioned near the crew's quarters. I spent an hour listening to their murmured chanting and felt quite reassured.
My bed that night swayed along.
With the motion of the train, we had several more days of this journey, though through the middle of nowhere at all.
Greetings, Monsieur Degustin.
Let us share a glass of wine together, monsieur.
Tell me about Edinburgh.
I have nothing against you personally, Passepartout, but I rarely talk to servants.
Jerk. Tell me about that one.
You mentioned trains. I've been told Dallas can be reached from San Pedro aboard the Texas and Pacific Railway.
Dallas.
Did you know New Orleans can be reached from Dallas aboard the Texas and Pacific Railway?
New Orleans?
You have to visit New Orleans if you like jazz.
Houston.
I'm afraid I'd have to go now.
Albuquerque. We got some good routes across the U.S. Or across North America, I should say.
Yeah, but you've got time yet before you can continue to deal with those. Our fellow passengers were a mix of convicts, political radicals, prospectors, businessmen, and military officers. In the midst of this was a young lady, Rosa,
Wearing a bored expression.
as she was arraigned by her formidable mama.
I made her acquaintance.
Only too easily. She was desperate for a sympathetic ear, and told me her great secret. She had fallen in love with a peasant boy in fourth class called Jank, by which I understood that they had shared a glance of extreme passion in the baggage car.
Huh. To be so young again.
I resolved to keep an eye on their burgeoning locomotive romance. We crossed the Volga in the early afternoon, crawling slowly over a bridge perched on the high stone pillars,
The devout Russians stood.
and crossed themselves while looking out over the water. I could just hear the lilting, rhythmic, oar-beating songs of the Volga boatmen over the whistle of the steamboats.
This is a long train ride.
Mm-hmm.
Famous danger scene, Nosra, heading for Theron.
The train crawled up into the Urals and stopped at the town of Ekaterinburg,
I bid farewell to young Rosa.
as she was slipping away to see her Jank once more.
Be careful, young lady.
She smiled at me. I will not, she replied. I will live. I shook my head and left her. She waved at me from the window as the train blew its whistle and faded away from sight.
Your character's now zestful. Oh, there's voice.
Mm-hmm. Not always. The railway cap could be sold handsomely here.
Oh, yeah.
That's a really good price. Ooh, fur-lined boots. How much do they go for? And are they part of the fur coat set? Cold climate set. You might need that. Oh, they're different sets, but...
Yeah. We could have the full engineering set.
That'd be useful. So now we can help negotiate mechanically unstable journeys.
Well, I'm gonna just go to Osk.
Okay.
It probably 2 days, so nothing we can do about it.
So you can do some exploring.
Yep.
Ekaterinburg was a grand city of the north, a hive of industrial activity. Freight trains and wagons rolled in and out at all hours, carrying all manner of steam this and electro loop that, heading east and west along Russia's Greyback.
Given the city set, I cannot believe the Trans-Siberian was the only connection.
So I determined to find something else to offer my master as an alternative. I began my search at,
An open area to the southeast.
which I reasoned might be an airfield. And it was, but a military one. Can you give me one good reason why I should allow you to fly with us? What an impertinent line of questioning,
We are going around the world.
I declared. They were not sympathetic. I was marched out of the field at gunpoint. Next I tried.
Local waterfront.
But it turned out that despite a number of small lakes, there was little in the way of ferry transport. By now I was growing late, so I returned to Monsieur Fogg. My master had passed the hour sipping a single cup of tea, which, it was clear from the look on his face, he had not enjoyed.
Hotel?
Probably.
We'll lose some time, but that's okay.
We took a room and settled in, and
He's doing fine. Spent some hours walking around, but found nothing particularly interesting. Oh well. Depart. Oop. No, I want this one. Depress tomorrow.
okay, continue.
Sure. I'm gonna need a little bit more money.
Yep. We joined the Trans-Siberian Express in the Urals.
Phileas Fogg attempts around the world adventure. That's us.
Mm-hmm.
We're going around the world.
I settled Monsieur Fogg and,
Went to explore the train.
ending up in a car filled with lively cavalry officers eating smoked fish and playing music. One of them enjoined me to play his balalaika, a kind of triangular mandolin,
I accepted eagerly.
and strummed a few notes to familiarize myself with the unaccustomed instrument. Once happy with its function, I played a
new Gilbert and Sullivan tune.
which I had the luck to hear performed in Paris before I entered into Monsieur Fogg's service. The officers struggled to keep up with the words, but upon a second repeat, nearly the entirety of the Ekaterinburg station restaurant boomed out the chorus lines.
In short, I'm not a vegetable, animal, and mineral. I am the very model of a modern man general.
The officers were so pleased by my performance that they very generously made me a gift of that very same balalaika. I cannot wait to play it for Monsieur Fogg.
Boop boop. San Francisco, if we decide to sell it.
So if you end up there, that might be good.
Converse.
Passepartout, you have my undivided attention. You should probably do something.
Shave you, monsieur. Shave away and make it close. Health. How are you feeling, monsieur?
I am in roaring health, and we must make haste.
Money. There enough in our wallet?
We are very well provided for, I must say. You've been most cautious so far.
Very good. Are we like halfway? How are we feeling?
Not quite. Time on board trains takes on a meditative quality.
I visited a library car.
And met Goland, the daughter of a Mongol chieftain who was poring over a thick volume of algebra.
I lamented my lack of mathematical skill.
Out loud, and she laughed. I must study algebra if I am to be an engineer in the Imperial Army of Russia. I wish to leave behind my ancestors' warrior past.
It is a new world.
I observed. We may remake ourselves as we like. She laughed, delighted. Just so. She folded the book closed. You have traveled, monsieur. They call us barbarians, don't they? She asked.
Who are they, and what do they matter?
I demanded with fine rhetoric and spirit. Your life is yours. She leaned forward, eyes shining. The truth is, there is more going on in my country than most outsiders know. We are growing fast as a people.
You mean territorial expansion? I asked, a trifle nervous.
She leaned back sharply as though stung. You are as bad as them all, she declared. You think us nothing but Genghis Khan's minions. I tried to dissuade her of the idea, but she would not relent.
I had the idea of making her a gift, but nothing suitable was entered itself.
So in the end, I bid her farewell and returned to the more stable company of Monsieur Fogg.
Aren't we already courageous? How do we check what we are?
You can't. But this impacts the way the game works. Becoming more courageous is not a bad thing.
I'm doing okay. 3,000 miles?
Mm-hmm. You'll get all sorts of statistics at the end.
Oh, I didn't get to wait.
We arrived in Amsterdam and stepped off the train in the company of a full score of British, Dutch, and German merchants, with military officers taking their places.
I turned back to the train quite happily.
And we entered the city. The wine could be shuffled handsomely.
How are we doing here? It's worth 2,003. We're not going back to Berlin.
We're not going back to Berlin, so you may as well get rid of it. You probably need to find storage for the bottle. Okay. It's a lot of
That's our engineering set. So we'll hold on to that. Let's sell these biscuits.
Yeah. And I don't know if you're going to these places, so I don't know. Does a fur coat go with the... Yes, you probably want that. You should get rid of one of those, potentially. Just trying to help.
Okay. Plan.
Where are you right now? You're in Omsk? I'd say take the next train to Irkutsk.
5 days, yeah.
But you've got the full Russian costume, so that should help you now. No charge in 3 days? Well, that's better.
No charge.
Sure. So now you got 3 days to deal with things.
Okay, that's not bad.
No. So go back to Omsk and see what else you can do. Hotel?
Yeah.
There was only one hotel, on a large square across from a fine-looking residence.
We go start with the residence, knocked on the door.
We were, after all, quite the most important travelers to arrive in this important city in some time. After a while, a maid opened and peered at us through dewy eyes.
We were traveling around the world.
I announced, hoping to interest her and her employers in our great venture. Nor was I disappointed. The maid dropped a curtsy and ushered us inside.
Welcome us like great explorers we were.
We learned that the house belonged to the governor of the province of the Russian steppes, a man named Buchholz. We found him reading the works of Dostoevsky, which he rapidly hid as we entered.
We entered with tales of our adventure.
And he assured us we had reached the pinnacle of adventure here in Omsk. A major hub, soon, he whispered, to become an independent state in its own rest.
We flattered his pride.
Informing him without a trace of irony that we had never seen such beautiful churches in all of our travels through Europe. Indeed, he told us, plans were afoot to bring Omsk to international importance with the Siberian Exposition of Agriculture and Mechanical Agricultural Implements.
I caught Monsieur's fog head nodding in the corner of my eye.
Not from assent, but drowsiness, we bade Buchholz farewell and good fortune. As we left, he asked us where we were headed.
Where would you advise?
I asked. He thought for a moment. Vladivostok is the best way east, he declared, but you may have trouble entering. The city is closed to all but the military.
I asked if he could help.
And he smiled. Why not? Taking a pen and paper from his desk, he quickly filled out some military-looking papers for us. These should suffice, he said with a twinkle. And when you return to England, please remember Omsk. We thanked him and left him to a seditious reading. And
dreams of glory. We don't leave yet, so we can explore?
Yeah.
Not super useful.
Omsk was the most important stop on the line between Moscow and the Siberian capital of Irkutsk, a fact that we were made aware of by a signboard in 5 languages that told us as much just outside the station and building.
The source of all this important was unclear.
And as we walked the streets of this minor, chilly town, I must say that no obvious reason emerged.
Depart. No, that's not what we want, right?
Right.
We want this one. Didn't we already negotiate?
We could try negotiating again.
At 3 p.m.
Sure, why not?
Let's do that. Oh. I want the military paper, so I'm going to get rid of the wool shirts.
Sure. This is always a challenge, figuring out what you can bring.
Go. Oh, the Russian costume helps a lot.
Yep. Helps perfectly. We reboarded the Trans-Siberian Express at Omsk Station and settled into our seats.
Boop boop. Boop boop. Oh, crap. Greeting, Monsieur Degustin.
Let us share a glass of wine together, monsieur.
Is this another traveler? Like another 80 days person?
I'm told that one can travel by freight train from Irkutsk to Beijing.
I don't know enough of these places.
You'd have to ask my secretary, but there's neither hotel, bank, nor market in Pagasau Pass. You'd have to ask my secretary, but you can pick up a high-grade...
Yeah.
I'm
Sorry.
going to...
We'll have more chances.
The lines are thick here, and other trains pass ours frequently. Some are filled with settlers and others with soldiers, packed into 5th and 6th class cars so closely that I wonder if they can even breathe.
I saw a darker train go past.
Metal cars with iron gratings seemed to cast shadows as it moved. It was a prison train bound for nowhere. The criminals aboard were simply carried backwards and forwards across the mountains, always moving, never stopping.
I saw children's faces held up to the light.
The prisoners are allowed to take their families with them. Whether that is mercy or worse punishment for good conscience, I cannot tell. This game is potentially incredibly racist.
It's kind of is, yeah.
Depending on how you play it, obviously. May I see your ticket? How I despise this car. You mentioned animals. I've been told my friend used to talk about the rail cart from Salt Lake City to Albuquerque.
Albuquerque.
Not just that, but you can pick up accordions in Albuquerque worth a huge amount in Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Not just that, but the most efficient way to Atlanta from here is through Manila. We reached the magnificent Angara Valley that holds the mining camp of Irkstuck.
I want to get off here, right? Or no?
It's up to you.
I don't understand. Like, are we supposed to?
This is your decisions.
I don't remember what our tickets were. Is this our stop?
Yes, but that doesn't mean...
No, we're not there yet. We looked up through the windows.
And saw that there's nothing here, barely building of any kind. I began to doubt our plan, but Mr. Fogg insisted that a ticket was a ticket.
I don't want to get off.
And decided we should stay aboard. We hid in the bathroom of our compartment as the ticket inspector came and went. The train began to move, and we exhaled a long sigh of relief. An hour later, we had reached the magnificent, crystal-clear expanse of Lake Baikal. The track ended at the lake's edge, but the great train showed no signs of slowing or stopping. I began to feel, as my master would say, a little perturbed. Now,
my friends, the sentence will seem to you the invention of a madman.
But I assure you, it is utter, unvarnished truth. We drove straight from the shore into the clear waters of the lake, causing barely a ripple. I looked out of the compartment window and saw the wheels pulled up, and Sitalar, the train was hovering in the air through some unseen mechanism.
I looked for the tracks.
I could only just see them against the gleam of the lake. They were cunningly built upon pontoons, which only just broke the surface of the water, though we did not touch them. What sort of train was the Trans-Siberian?
Oh, so we have this... This report missed. The French are the worst for short memories. Oh, we got a little shortcut here, eh?
Mm-hmm. Potentially.
Oscar Independence, hope stashed.
From the window, I watched families working at their fields, dressed in colors bright as harlequins, red and blue bodices, and bright bandanas, which they pulled off to wave at the train.
People are wonderful.
They live somewhere bleak and make themselves colorful instead.
I like our Trans-Siberian bonus route here. What'd you miss?
My excellent valet. Shall I play you a tune?
Surprise me.
How will we cross the Pacific, monsieur? There are many options, but which one we will choose will decide our route across the Americas.
How are we doing money?
You're amply funded. You've been most shrewd with your decisions.
Good. How many miles do we have to go around the world? 5,000?
I can't remember. There's little to report of the outside world, so a word today on Russian eating habits, more specifically the Russian distaste for regular meal times. I met a fellow Frenchman today who said to me, the Russian meal is a guide to the Russian character.
I begged him to explain further.
And he obliged me. The guiding principle of the national cuisine is that all dishes must be capable of being served at any time the eater feels disposed. He sacrifices his finer susceptibilities to his love of freedom. I resolved to keep this thought in mind on future approaches to the dining car. If our locomotive suppers are not triumphs of the culinary art, they are at least signal examples of logistical achievement.
Mm-hmm. Greeting.
May I see your ticket? How I despise this job.
Can Kalsmov.
There's an outpost of the Artificers Guild there.
To Urga.
All I know is this. Urga is filled with different kinds of Buddhist.
Terskan. No talk.
No talking. Also, looking for a route to somewhere you've already been is probably not the best question.
I can't. I don't know
You
any
don't
of this
remember?
stuff.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. Different areas of the world will be better for you. We pulled into Karamskaya in the evening. From Karamskaya, it was possible to branch onto the Chinese Eastern Railway to Beijing. The ticket inspectors made more thorough examinations here, so we disembarked onto the platform.
We watched the train pull away.
And I knew I would miss the hot water, the leather seats, and the gentle rocking of the carriage.
Okay, so we need to head to a... Explore.
I spent a few hours in exploration, learning ways in which we might travel onwards.
Well, I feel like we should get to this boat here.
Mm-hmm.
It departs in 4 days.
So you want to go there rather than any of the other options?
What?
I mean, you do have fake military papers, but really depends on what you want to do.
Like, I kind of just want to keep going east.
Okay. Continue. Well, you've got 4 days before it departs, so there's a chance of exploring and learning more.
But we're at over an hour,
Okay.
so we're gonna call it here. This has been 80 days. I like this game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's got a great storytelling experience to it. The UI could use some work. I really suck at knowing where these places are, so when I'm conversing, it'd be nice if it showed me the map, so I could be like, where are these two cities? Because you're right, like asking about cities that are behind me, not useful. But I do like a lot of the stuff going on here, and the storytelling and the options and the market. There's a lot. I like it. There's a lot going on, and it builds a really cool.
Well, why don't we take a break and then we can come back to this after?
Nope, play a different game.
Oh. But I wanted to see how your trip ended.
Well, it's a long trip. We'll try another time.
Okay.
All right. I'm still John.
I'm still Ellie.
Cheers.
Bye.